Hello lovely kids, this is Neha Sharma once again with you, and we are reading chapter number 4 from our Vistas book. The name of the chapter is The Enemy. So dear kids, we have completed last 3 parts of the chapter till page number 27, and second last paragraph we have covered in the last video, and we have read in the last paragraph till last paragraph of page number 27 that Hannah and Dr. Sadao went near the man who was wounded at the beach, right? When they examined him, they found that this was an American man, right? And he was badly wounded. Now when Dr. Sadao started searching the wound of that American, because he was a doctor and his foremost duty was to take care of the humanity, right? So that's why he could not resist himself, because the man was American, and he started searching the wound. So he found that in his stomach, somewhere, the blood stain was there. So he found that near the kidney the wound was there of the gunshot. Now last paragraph of page number 27. So please read that carefully. Please open page number 27. Have a pencil in your hand so that you can write down the meanings also. What shall we do with this man? Sadao muttered. Now, because Sadao is in the curiosity, he is confused that what they should do with the man, because he was an American, right, who was an enemy of them. So what is the meaning of muttered here? Means to speak in a low voice, or to speak to himself. But his trained hands seemed to their own will to be doing what they could to stanch. So this meaning of this word stanch is to stop or to restrict, right, from a wound and the fearful bleeding. So both of them are confused that what should be done with this man who was bleeding badly. So what he did, he packed the wound with the sea moss that strewed the beach. The man moaned with pain in his stupor, what he did not awaken. So this moan means what? Moan means to give a cry, okay, a low cry, and the pain you can see. And second word here is stupor, S-T-U-P-O-R, that is a state of unconsciousness. Now, so what he did, he take the sea moss. Sea moss is a kind of seaweed. It's a type of grass which was there on the beach. And this strewed means to be scattered in that particular area, right? So there was the sea moss, means the vegetation was there. He just got that and packed the wound of the American soldier, right? The best thing that we could do would be to put him back into the sea, Sadao said. Now that bleeding was stopped for the moment, and he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands. Yes, undoubtedly that would be the best, Hannah said steadily. But she continued to stare down the motionless man. Now what happened here? Sadao answered to himself, right, that the best thing was to put the man back into the sea, right, put him back into the sea. Here in these lines you can see. And he answered himself, he is answering himself, so that I have told you. As the bleeding stopped, now the bleeding was stopped at this moment. So as the bleeding stopped, and he stood up and removed the dust from his hand. He cleaned himself too, and Hannah also supported his opinion. Yes, undoubtedly. So Hannah said. So she also supported his opinion, but looked intently at the man as he lay still on that sand. Okay. So now next, see what is that. In the next paragraph, if we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested, and if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die, Sadao said. Now, Sadao said that if they gave him shelter, they would be jailed, right, because they for that the crime would be the sheltering an enemy. But if they handed that over to the Japanese army or the Japanese police as a prisoner, then he would die surely in the prison because he is badly wounded and nobody is going to treat him in the jail. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea, Hannah said. So at this, right, at this Hannah said that it will be very good that the both of them were thinking that the favorable thing was that only one option was there to put him back into the sea. And Hannah added some you can say Hannah said that the kindest thing to him, or the kindest act for them, was to put him back into the sea, and both of them did not move ahead to do so. There is something about him that looks American, Sadao said. He took up a battered cap. What is he? Hannah whispered. Okay, so at that point, inert figure here. So meaning of this means which is lifeless, right? So here this is something about him looks American. So here something was there. Actually, Hannah was inquisitive as she asked about the man's identity. So Sadao replied that he appeared to be American. So he picked up the torn cap and read the words battered cap. Okay, so battered means the torn cap. Yes, they are almost gone, was faint lettering. A sailor, he said, from an American warship. He spelled it out, U.S. Navy. The man was a prisoner of war. So from his cap or from his uniform, what he was wearing, so they made it sure that when Sadao picked up that torn cap and read the words written on the cap, which were slightly visible, so he read it like U.S. Navy was written there. So they concluded that the man had been taken into captivity during the war. Now next paragraph is, he has escaped, Hannah cried softly, and that is why he is wounded. So they were not able, when Sadao and Hannah discussed that the man had tried to escape from the prison and had been shot in the back. In the back, Sadao agreed. So they say yes. They hesitated, looking at each other. Then Hannah said with resolution, right? So what she said, come, are we able to put him back into the sea? So they were not able to gather the courage actually to throw him into the sea. And Hannah called upon Sadao with the firmness, with the resolution, with the determination, you can say, or with the firmness or the stillness. She asked him if he was ready to put him into the sea, right? So no, Hannah said, but if you can do it alone. If I am not able, are you? Sadao asked. So at this, Sadao told her that if he was not able to do this, so can you do that? Can you get the courage? Can you get the confidence to throw him in the sea once again? So at the question of Sadao, Hannah said, she denied actually that no, she cannot do that, right? She could not get the courage to throw that POW again in the sea. Sadao hesitated again. The strange thing is, he said that if the man were whole, I could turn him over to the police without difficulty. I care nothing for him. He is my enemy. All the Americans are my enemy, and he is the only common fellow. You see how foolish his face is. But since he is wounded, now, so here Sadao was reluctant in throwing the man into the sea, and he reasoned that if the man was well, means if he was not wounded, right, so he would hand him over to the police without any hesitation. But he added that he had not concerned about him. Actually he is not considering him actually because a good man, but he is considering him as his enemy because he was an American. And he also committed here that the injured man was a common man, as his face looked as if he was a foolish person. He wanted to say that he was not bothered about the injured man, but his only concern was that he was wounded. You also cannot throw him back to the sea, Hannah said. Then there is only one thing to do. We must carry him to the house. So at this, Hannah said that if he could not throw him into the sea, then the second option was to carry him home. But the servants said, Sadao inquired. So at this, Sadao was concerned that the servants would object as they would shelter an enemy. Now please open your book on page number 29, and the first paragraph of page number 29 says, on the last page we have studied that Sadao was concerned that if they would shelter this American soldier at the home, so what would be the reaction of the servants, right? So we must simply tell them, now on this page number 29, we must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police, as indeed we must, Sadao. We must think of the children and your position. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. So here in this paragraph, what Hannah is saying, that they would tell them that they intend to hand him over to the police, that American soldiers, once he recovered, because now he is wounded, so they cannot give him in such a condition to the police. So she told him that they must do that if he will cured, right, if he will get cured of that wound or something. So after his treatment, they would surely or definitely give him to the police. She added that they must consider their children's future and Sadao's position also, because that he was very renowned doctor. So if they did not hand over the prisoner of war to the police, they would be in danger. Certainly, Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. So Sadao also replied that certainly he would do that, surely he would do that, and he did not think of doing anything else, that he definitely would give that man to the police. Next paragraph says, thus agreed together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time, until it is only the feathers and skeleton. So let's read up to here. They lifted the injured man into the house. He was very light, and the writer compares here his weight to the weight of the hen, right, that has not been fed for a long time, and its body loses flesh and reduces into mere feather and skeletons. So his arms hanging, they carried up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door was opened into the passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. Now, both of them carried this man to one of the bedroom, right? And the man's arm were hanging, and both of them, they were carried him up the stairs into the side door of the house, and the door of one room was opened, and they went down through the passage towards an empty bedroom, right? It had been bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death it had not been used. So where they gave him shelter, the bedroom where they kept him, that room belonged to Sadao's father. They laid the man onto the deeply matted floor. Okay, so the injured man was laid on the thick mat on the floor. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in the foreign bed. Hannah went to the wall cupboard and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. She hesitated. The quilt was covered with flowered silk, and lining was pure white silk. So they gave him shelter in the Sadao's father room, and everything in the room was Japanese, as Sadao's father disliked foreign things. So Hannah went to the cupboard, which was there in the wall. She just slid down the door, right, and she took a soft quilt. But when she just got that quilt in her hand, So she resisted putting it on the injured man because the quilt was made up of silk and had a flowery print on it, and the lining was made up of the pure white silk. So that's why she hesitated to give that to because the man was too dirty. So we will keep this part up to here. In the next video we will meet with the next part of the story. Thank you very much. Make notes of the story.